from one multi-time Pro Bowler in LaVar Arrington to another multi-time Pro Bowler in Warren Sapp. So Warren Sapp was on with Vlad TV, and let's see if you disagree with this because he was asked about the Colin Kaepernick workout with the Las Vegas
different
Raiders. And
Sapp don't hold. He doesn't. He's not known for mincing words.
No, he wasn't. Here was Warren Sapp.
I mean, do you see Kaepernick coming back? I mean, he tried out with the Raiders recently, but I heard the tryout wasn't all that great.
I heard it was a disaster. I heard it was one of the worst workouts ever. I'm wondering how the hell this happened and the tape didn't get out, right? I mean, somebody wasn't over the fence or nothing? Come on, man. We live in a world right now where you put a drone up. Hey, it ain't like they can stop you. They ain't gonna stop the workout talking about there's a drone up here. We don't know who this is. I mean, what? Come on, let's run this. They don't even send them up the ladder anymore. You remember we used to go out to practice, send the guy up the thing and he's shooting practice off. Unbelievable.
Now, Kaepernick's agent has responded and said, kind of dismissed it and said, we spoke with the Raiders front office personnel. Apparently Warren Sapp did not. But, the usuals took some offense to it. Mike Florio was offended by Warren Sapp's criticism. It's hilarious.
He was offended.
Oh, my God. It's hilarious. Like,
why was he offended?
Because
Mike Florio is offended by everyone. All right.
He's been one of the biggest Colin Kaepernick ball washers over the past couple of years in all of sports media, and the fact that
you can't have a horrible workout because you're a Kaepernick.
By the way, didn't Teddy Bridgewater have a bad pro day? Like, wasn't like it was like known as like one of the worst pro days anybody had seen. It nobody took offense to it. It was just he had a bad workout. Like what's the problem? But apparently, he's above criticism and. If his workout was so great, wouldn't we to Warren Sapp's point? No footage? I mean, there'd be no footage of this. No.
The organization isn't going to put it out there like that. I don't care what workout any player ever does. That's not going to get out. Now, the fact that there hasn't been more things leaked from it, I'll put it this way: the first time I ever got cut by the Seahawks, I remember them being like, "Hey, we had another team call about you. We want to help you," and literally they were like, "Yeah, the Jets are calling, they're going to sign you all this stuff." I'm like, okay. I mean, I'd never gone through that before, but because of how I performed during my time with them for the past 5 months in the offseason, they were like, "No, we want him to sign on somewhere else. We want him to have an opportunity somewhere else." And I do feel like if the Raiders were willing to bring him in, and they thought he performed well enough, they would call some other teams to say, or other teams would ask and say, "Hey, how was he?" And he would get another workout. He would get more looks. That is, there's a lot of word of mouth in the NFL. And that is the one thing that again, this is speculation because we haven't seen the workout. We don't know what it looks like. But I would think that there would be more people who'd kick the tires, bring him in for a workout. There's no harm bringing him in for a workout. There's no harm in doing it, especially right now. You got 6 weeks off. You're trying to build up your roster for training camp, see if you can get it as good as possible before you head into the season. So there's no harm in trying to bring him in right now for a workout. And that's why I kind of look at it and go, it is a bit odd that it was just a kind of one and done, okay. But again, the Raiders have a lot of other stuff going on around their organization. I hate to admit it, but maybe it was a distraction tactic by the Raiders.
I know Sapp pretty well. He ain't lying. He's not lying. One thing Sapp is not, he's not a liar. And this is something that we all know, and Q, you will attest to this. When you've played for an organization, you know people in the organization. And there's certain places where you can get information that in other cases you don't get that information. Sapp played for the Raiders. Sapp probably has a relationship with one or two people that are in the organization. If Sapp didn't know or hear or have a discussion about it with somebody who was within the organization, he wouldn't even talked about it. The bottom line is, knowing how Sapp is, the reason why Vlad even asked it was because he was setting up Sapp to be able to talk about something that he already had information on. So let's just be clear on that. So the agent can sit there and say, well, we didn't, we talked to the organization and Sapp, from what we can gather, Sapp didn't. Well, Sapp might have not have talked to the people that you spoke to in the organization, but that doesn't mean that he didn't speak to some people in the organization that either knew from other evaluators what the evaluation was, or B, directly to the people who were doing the workout and got that information firsthand.
Yeah,
So,
why would he make it up?
He's not making that up.
One of the assumptions by Brady's buddy Mike Florio is that he's trying to get a career.
Stop saying that. He really got to stop saying that.
He's got to get a career because he ruined his previous career. How would him being critical of Colin Kaepernick make it easier for him to have a career? Like, if anything, that would make it more difficult because of how many people have been trying to rally around Colin Kaepernick. I don't see the motivation for him to want to just make it up.
Listen, it would be a home run to bring Colin Kaepernick in and be a part of your organization if you could figure out how to do it.
By the way, you know who needs some good PR right now at quarterback? The Browns. How come the Browns haven't called?
Yeah, I don't know that would be, I don't know about that.
Just like the idea that he's just going to waltz back in after all this time, and if anybody dares say the workout was bad, then they immediately get attacked for it. It's like maybe it was. I don't.
Listen, it was. It was. I have no knowledge of it. I just know Sapp wouldn't have said it if that's not the report that he got from it. If that's not the information he got from somebody who was close to it, he wouldn't have said it. So the workout, it's safe to say that the workout was terrible. It was terrible.
Well, here's what I'll say, too, since Colin Kaepernick came to the league and since he left. Think about some of the quarterbacks who have come into the league. Whether it's a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, some of the others. These guys are elite passing the football from the pocket. Their arm talent is ridiculous. Their ability to make throws, cross body, sidearm, without really having a platform and make these throws is absurd. It's ridiculous. Like, my feeling is because of the specialization at the quarterback position, quarterbacks are becoming more and more talented and more refined at a younger age, where when you get to the NFL, there's times when quarterback coaches are still working out fundamentals. I don't see that quite as much anymore. I think most kids have –
they specialize.
As far as their upper body mechanics, they've got it down. Like, they can spin it, and then they can throw off platform, different angles. They're practicing this stuff now at a young age. It's a different ballgame. If you go back and look at what made Colin Kaepernick successful – it was his athleticism.
His ability to move.
His ability to run.
Yeah.
Not even just move, like run.
Run, right. Yeah, that's what I meant.
And he's got a strong arm, but he was never viewed as overly accurate. He was never viewed as a guy that had anything other than a fastball. And I think that's the hardest thing for him to overcome.
He would have to be a pure quarterback versus being an athletic quarterback, because he's not going to be an athletic quarterback at this point in his career.
Right, and forget the athletic portion of it. I just think when you looked at what his weakest part was, and you look at what's coming into the NFL now and the way these kids sling it, teams are probably looking at him and looking at what they have or what's out there or what's coming up in the league and going,
it's obsolete.
Yeah, why would I want this? Like, I have a cheaper option that's not going to cause any potential headaches or a PR issue or anything else with guys that, maybe you could say they're unproven if they come out of college, but damn, they're talented. So I think that's part of it, too, is the game's changed. Like, these young dudes coming out now can sling it. And that was the weakest part of his game. And if he hasn't transformed into that, it's going to be hard to impress any of these teams anyway.